Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dragagon, and this is Gregtech New Horizons. So, as I left off in the last video, I was going to decide what I was going to do exactly about the next steps. I've come to the decision that for the time being, I'm going to work towards just the vacuum freezer and the Tier 1 rocket. I went and did a little digging, watched some of my videos from the previous playthrough, and then looked in NEI just to make sure. And yeah, I'm going to need 4 EV chips, 3 for the vacuum freezer, and 1 for the Tier 1 schematic. And so I set about getting stuff set up. One of the things I did run across was I got this quest to open up. What I ended up having to do was I came over here. I started doing the vinyl chloride because I was going to make the SMD versions and knock out this quest. As soon as I got all the PVC and I completed the SMD circuit quest, this quest unlocked. So I knew there was a quest that was somewhere after the advanced circuit assembler, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to unlock it, and it's because I had not done this SMD circuit component quest yet. So I knocked those out, brought my advanced circuit assembler over here, and as you can see, I have made 16 of these integrated processors at the MV level. These guys, 1, they complete that quest, but 2, in addition to that, they also begin the rest of the stuff. Now, we've used small coils before. This quest is kind of out of place now. The small coils being required. Where is it? I thought it was under the MV. The MV. What do you call it? Not the MV energy hatch. The other one, the MV transformer. But I am not seeing that quest here at the moment. So in any case, we've made these before, but they're fairly simple. 2 steel rings, 4 fine annealed copper wire, and you throw those in and get the small coil with a little bit of polyethylene there. It's easier just to run those in sets of 8 because that is exactly 1 steel and 1 fine copper wire. Actually, I guess if you're using the fine annealed copper wire, you get a bit more out of it. I did not notice that before. So, in any case, we will probably go ahead and knock out that quest real quick. It shouldn't take too long. I mean, you're talking about annealed copper wire, 1 piece of PVC, or not PVC, polyethylene, and 1 steel that's been put into 1 piece of steel that's been put into the extruder. So, steel. No, that is not how you spell steel. There we go. 1 of those, and then 1 piece of copper. I will go ahead and use 1 of these guys. That'll work. And then we can turn that stuff into what we need. There we go. So let's come over here. We'll grab out our ring extruder shape. Toss 1 steel ingot in there. I have 32 other steel ingots because I am prepping to make the Implosion Compressor. So that stuff is also sitting in my inventory. I have the controller right here. Let's go ahead and pull that loose, and that will knock out the rest of the Implosion Compressor quest. And in the meantime, let's get this guy made into the wires. There's my ring. Put that away. Put that guy back. And then we'll come up here, put in the polyethylene sheet for steel, and then get those guys going like that. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and get this stuff kind of knocked out. Oops, I don't want to have that in there. I want those in my inventory so that as soon as I get this, it should complete that small coil quest. That'd be rather obnoxious. Get the small coils done and not get credit for the rest of it and unlock the rest of the quest. So there we go. we'll go ahead and get on with that. Yeah, essentially those coils are going to go towards getting... Ooh, I need another set of capacitors for the next part of my quest there. So, in any case, like I say, I am going to take a break, but when I come back, we should have the parts pretty close to being necessary for this vacuum freezer. The implosion compressor is going to go somewhere over there, maybe by those guys. I might have to run a power line up and around and get the implosion compressor. I'm thinking those guys are sitting right here. I'm thinking if I throw it in this chunk for now, that will be far enough away from the main part of the base for me not to have to worry about it. So I'm going to be right back. We'll see you in just a bit. Alright, so I've gone ahead and gathered up the rest of the parts I would need in order to complete the quest. Now, I ended up collecting everything because I was bringing it over here into the clean room. So I basically already had completed the first part of that quest, where now I'm going to go ahead and make 8 of the HV circuits using 8 of the plastic circuit boards, 32 small coils, all 64 of these capacitors, 32 RAM, and this red alloy, and then the 16 integrated processors. It'll take 2 of each of those to create one of these things. That's why we tend to only make the higher level stuff when you need it, because having to make double of these already expensive parts gets even more expensive. One of the things that I am looking forward to doing later on is automating this process so I don't have to make all these components individually. But as it's been stated before, it's quite a bit easier to just make these things in batches, at least until you can get to AE2 and then start setting up crafting processes that way. Now, the one thing I do take exception to that is stuff like this. That is one thing I can show you guys. I added onto the line just a little bit. I have this guy right here that has a stock keeper on chlorine cells and an item extractor for the empty cells. This is just a fluid canner to uncan it, stick it over into this chemical reactor. The chemical reactor right now doesn't do much of anything. Basically, as I get in, actually it should be, no, I guess I never set it up to do anything here. That could be wrong. I may need to look at that. In any case, what I do have it doing is I put iron into this one, and maybe that's where I'm thinking I need this guy moved over one instead of right where it's sitting. But as I put iron powder or the iron dust in here, this guy actually goes and makes me the iron 3 chloride. Now the setup is pretty cool because the hydrochloric acid, when you're done making the iron 3 chloride, gives you 3 bottles of hydrogen back. If you pass those back into here and mix it with the chlorine, you get the 3 hydrochloric acid that you need for the next batch. So really, all you need is a fluid canner or something in order to get chlorine, and then 3 cans of hydrogen at the start. And then once you've got that set up, you just drop in iron and you'll have iron 3 chloride, because the hydrogen goes back, mixes with the chlorine, comes back in here as hydrochloric acid, mixes with the iron, and then this cycle just repeats itself back and forth. It is very handy. A nice little addition to the setup so that I can do things like making these annoying plastic circuit boards rather than having to worry about that. And it seems I miscalculated on how much stuff I was going to need. I didn't realize these guys took a full... They must take a full thing of soldering alloy. Or I just miscounted. One of the two. In this case, it looks like I've miscounted. I could have swore, though, that... Alright. In any case, I will need to go get a little bit more of that in order to continue on with the rest of this. Really, though? That's crazy. I feel like feel like the game messed up somehow, but that's all right. Let's just double check again. One more time here. This guy. Molten soldering alloy. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's why I'm looking at those guys. This guy, and does indeed, it takes one whole soldering alloy each. And then these guys, let's just double check that one. Circuit assembler. Here we are. And it'll take one each for those as well. So I'm going to need 5 more of these. So, soldering alloy. There we go. Some of my stuff I still have to do kind of a runaround in order to deal with it. For instance, getting molten soldering alloy into there. Basically what I do is I use the fluid extractor, and then once it's extracted all of it, I take it out of there, I put it over here into this fluid canner, and then I take the required number of cells in the fluid canner and then grab it, very quickly throw it in so that that doesn't happen, but it did anyway. I am slowly losing repair on my piston boots because I keep ticking damage from having molten cans of something or other somewhere on my person. So in any case, there's that. Let's go ahead and pull these liquid translocators, slap those down there like that, and then play the jumping game. There we go. And that'll create this. Now, the nice thing about getting those guys done is that this is almost all that I need in order to complete the next part of the quest, which they want you to make 8 of them. How nice, how nice. They have you make 1 each of these other guys, and then wait until the very end and then go, oh, by the way, we want you to make 8 of them. So there we have it. There's that. Those are all done. So I'm making the 4 workstation chips. So we have those, and those. And what am I missing? Those. There we are. So we'll let this run real quick. And again, these guys need the clean room. So you definitely want to make sure that you're running at peak efficiency in your clean room while you're making these things. All right, here we go. There's number 1. 3 more to go. And once these 3 are done, then we can start taking a look at this vacuum freezer sitting right here. Vacuum freezer. This guy, like I say, 3 of those EV chips, 3 electric pumps, a frost-proof machine casing, and some gold cable. And then when you hover over it, you need more frost-proof machine casing. In this case, it wants 21 of these guys. These things being 8 aluminum each. So it's going to take me a little bit. If it wants 22 of these things to make the stuff, yeah, it's going to take just a little bit for me to get through all of that. In any case, that will be what I am focusing on, as I really can't continue until I finish this stuff up. The only other thing really that I need to work on is back over on the MV tab. I need to work on this guy right here, the reinforced obsidian to make the wither killing chamber, and then setting up a powered spawner type setup to get those what do you want to call them? The wither skeletons. So in any case, let's see what that opened up real quick here. Recycle for the environment and the advanced circuit assembling machine. You need this for higher tier circuits. I really don't want to make this right now because I don't need those higher tier circuits just yet. Realistically, I need those other things. Advanced recycler, if you have too much wood, etc., scrap, use it for UU amplifier to make UU matter cheaper. UU amplifier I don't need because I do have the UUA berries that are coming. I don't have them planted yet, so I don't really have any, but I do have the transformium that will be going into making the UU matter and UU amplifier. and then getting in the scrap and stuff so that I can start, what is that, creating stuff out of nothing, practically. Creating stuff out of junk. All right, well, that completes that portion. It'll be a little while for me to gather up all the required aluminum in order to make those machine casings. It's going to take me coming over here and getting out, let's see here, that's enough for 8 of them. So I'm going to need 1, 2, and 3 of those things. So fortunately I do have quite a bit of aluminum because of my setup. I believe this setup over here is the one that's getting me the aluminum, but that's also going to now require me to get 3 stacks of hydrogen and use the EBF and get it going, and that's going to take a couple hours in order to smelt all this stuff down, since I am still only running the 1 EBF rather than having 2 or more somewhere where I'm not going to kill myself with pollution. So in any case, I will be back probably tomorrow in real life working away on these parts, and we'll see you in a bit. Well, I am back, and as predicted, it's the next day in real life, and I finally smelted up all of the required aluminum that I needed in order to make these frost-proof casings. Now, I've already got them sitting over in here. There they are. And then over here, I also have set up everything that I need in order to plop one of those guys in and snag my vacuum freezer. So that should complete the vacuum freezer quest. Also in my inventory, you'll notice that I've got a couple of maintenance hatches, an LV energy hatch, an MV energy hatch, some transformers, output buses, and then also the stuff for the implosion compressor to include an HV muffler hatch. So the idea was that I was going to put my implosion compressor someplace right around here. The reason for that is I wanted it near-ish to the power, but I don't have the setup to get stuff put up all the way over there yet. I need more aluminum, and really I wanted to get this thing knocked out and out of the way. So what I can start with is, let's go ahead and put those 2 there. We'll get the implosion compressor there. And then I would like, this guy only needs low power. So I've got the LV energy hatch there. And hopefully, am I able to put it down there? Excellent. So I should be able to get power up through there. It will be only LV power. So I've got my redstone cables to get it from over here, which is where I plan on putting the freezer. Now, I guess I chose a little right up next to this thing here. All right, well, that should be all right still. Next, I'm going to have the input and output buses for this guy. I really want them to be somewhat close here to the edge so that I don't have to go into that chunk and experience all the wonderful joy that is the pollution that will be in this chunk. Being 1 chunk over, even though it's only 2 squares, makes it nice because then the part of the pollution that bleeds over won't be nearly as bad as what pollution is in that chunk, and I can from right here right click and put stuff in without having to worry about that. All right, so that part is done. All that is left is the rest of these machine casings. Input, output, energy hatch, muffler is, I think, the only other thing. Oh, maintenance hatch, yes. And I want the maintenance hatch to also be over here on this side so that I can easily reach over and do that. You know what? Just to make this even better, I'm going to go ahead and take this, and we're going to put them here like so. And like so, and that way I have those like that, and then we'll slap these guys down. There we go. Muffler hatch here. And of course it doesn't want to wrench it the right direction. There we go. And then that one and those. And that should be a completed structure. Yes, it has problems, but that's because I don't have room in my stuff for the tool box. So the next thing that I want to set up is, let's see here, I've got 7 of those guys. So from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could do 5 right here. And then if I put this guy's power here, I can do it this way. So MV energy hatch, I'm going to put that there. Give it a second. There we go. And then let's get these guys there, there, and there. At 3. Like that. Let's see here. I can put the maintenance one there, vacuum freezer block there, input there, output there, and that should complete the vacuum freezer as well. Good. Also has problems. That's fine. And now to mark off the places where I need stuff. So just go ahead and knock that out and knock that out, even though I'll be over by 1 on each of these. There we are. All right, so for this one and this guy, if I take this, I can put this, let's see. I really would like a battery buffer there. So I'm probably going to put that there, this guy there like that. That way I can put a battery buffer there. And then this guy is stepping down to 4 amps. So then we'll take him, put him there, and wrench it around. That'll work. And then for here I can go 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and 5. And I didn't bring my wire clippers, of course, so that also won't happen. And then put that guy there. And then I've got these cables to come along to here. There we go. That should work. The only thing that I am missing then is I can put a cable there for now because this guy will produce 4 amps of MV power and go up in there. And that will be good for that. This guy will get that. So all total, these guys should, if I right click on them in just a second with my, what do you want to call it, my tricorder, I should see that they are only drawing the power that they are being given versus drawing higher power, which would be nice. One thing I do want to do, let's see if I have any tin cables. There's a 4x annealed copper. Perfect. I can use this in lieu of the battery buffer for right now with the vacuum freezer. There we go. Grab my wrench, or my clippers. And then I will stick another stone there and put another stone there, and we'll drop down this hole since I've never filled it in. Convenient. Here we go. Wire clippers there, and wire clippers not there. There. All right, nothing immediately exploded, so that's a good start. And then real quick up. And now if we take a look with the portable scanner, the tricorder, let's see. What does that say? Max energy income LV. Good. That's what I want to see there. And max energy income MV. Good. So I've got those two things now working fine. The only thing is that they do have pipes, screws, something is stuck, platings are dented, circuitry's burned out, and that doesn't belong there. So I will go grab those tools, put away these excess wires that I've got, and that will complete everything I need. That EBF, after I make kanthal coils, is going to move over to that corner. So for the time being, when I'm making the kanthal, I'm going to stick it in a bag and run all the way over there in order to put it away without taking too much damage from the ticking of hot ingots in my inventory. Let's see, I need soft mallet, hammer, actually. Ooh, that might not be enough. That guy... Let's see here. Wrench. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it the screwdriver? I don't think it's the file, the saw, or anything else. The only other thing I need is my soldering gun. And where did I put my soldering alloy? Maybe I don't have any more soldering alloy. Anyway, let's get this stuff taken care of. Soldering... Here we go. Submit one of those. And we'll put that in there. And we'll put both of those in there. Oh, and while we're at it, I should be able to charge this guy here. There we go. Unfortunately, this guy does need charging, so yeah, you just got to work with it. That's good. All right, here we go. Let's go knock these problems out, and then we can start looking at kanthal. Now, I have ruby being ground up in my macerator all the way over there. I guess I don't need these lines on anymore. That's annoying. So there's that, there's that, there's that, there's that, there's that, and there is that. Now that should take care of all the problems. Good deal. Now this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and does the screwdriver do something? Yep, screws are loose. All right, and done. So there we go. No problems now in the Implosion Compressor, and I can stand with my back up against this guy and do stuff with the input and output on the Implosion Compressor without standing directly in the chunk and having to deal with the pollution from this guy. Now, I did give him an HV muffler hatch, so that'll cut down the pollution by, I think it's like 28%. So it's like 72% of the pollution. So instead of 10,000 a second or a tick or however much it makes, it only makes 7,200 that way. All right, let's put these tools back. I need that one. You, and you. There we go. And we'll put these guys back in here. There's the soldering alloy right next to it. Don't really need that right this second. And then where was that guy here? And we'll charge him up there, or keep it charged up there. All right, so that is everything. I am going to step away while I work on grinding up more of this ruby in order to get the chrome dust, and that will go a long ways towards getting me the kanthal. I'm going to do some calculations. I don't know that I showed you guys on camera, but I did end up finding a mica vein, and I have stacks of mica somewhere in here. That's cassiterite. Is it over here? No, that's other stuff. That's other stuff. Somewhere in there I have several ores of mica. Maybe I put it away properly? Probably not. In any case, there's asbestos. I will use some of the asbestos, and I will be using the mica once I find it, or rather once I pull it out from my little request tube here. And I will be working towards these kanthal coils. Is it AL? Yeah, it can fall. Here we go. I'm going to be working towards these guys, which needs this mica insulator foil, which comes from the mica insulator sheets, which comes from mica-based sheets and silicon dioxide. The silicon dioxide I can get from how I have my oxygen setup going. Then from that you get the mica, or with that you use the asbestos and the mica-based pulp, and of course the mica-based pulp is some raw rubber and some mica dust, which of course is from doing the mica in one way, shape, or form, getting it from this ore, which it has an overworld version here. Yeah, see, Overworld and Barnard Sea are where you can get this kyanite, mica, cassiterite, and pollucite. So yeah, I will be working on getting all of that stuff set up off camera and ready to melt it down and then run it over to the vacuum freezer. And now that the implosion compressor is ready, I'm also going to end up really needing to focus on getting a toluene setup somewhere back there, maybe even going to the extent of making another 4 of the workstation circuits in order to properly distill the the wood tar, into toluene and benzene. So in any case, I have some work ahead of me. I will see you guys back here after a while. All right, I just had a look at the time and I'm running at about a half hour on this video. But I have made some progress since I cut at the last point. I spent a few hours, and yeah, I really do mean a few hours, and I have made a bunch of the hot kanthal ingots inside of this EBF. I've got, looks like 3 more to go in order to make the full 256. I also took the time to make a bunch of nichrome up and then get the mica insulator sheets ready. And then in the meantime, I also went ahead and started dipping into a little bit of the magic. I was going through here and noticed that I had stopped at the nitor and aluminum and the crystal clusters, and so I went ahead and knocked all of those guys out. The next part here is the Essentia Cooking, and then that plus the alembics are what I will need in order to get Essentia, and then from there that should unlock the infusion altar portion of the quest. That I haven't gotten to yet. I also was digging into a little bit of the witchery, and the reason for that is that I was hoping to be able to get to the right of, what is it? The right of, not transportation, but anyway, one of the rights that deals with teleportation, so that when I go to the moon, I could set up maybe some circle magic and use the witchery to bounce back and forth between here and each of the different other locations. Basically make it so that I can jump to the moon, jump back home, and bounce back and forth, quote-unquote, freely, versus having to take the rocket and expend the diesel fuel that I am cautiously saving up. In the meantime, I also went ahead and did a couple of rearranging things. Let's just come over here real quick, and then at the end of this I'll go ahead and cut this video. So I moved this guy and I switched it around so that my stock keeper puts stuff into the box, and then the box puts into these 2 fluid extractors. The only problem is that the number of oil berries that I have was enough for 1 extractor and to be positive on oil berries. As soon as I put the second one down, it chewed through all of my oil berries. Now, the good news is that I now have almost 1.7, 1,700 buckets of diesel. And then over here, I also tossed down an HV fluid tank, which is currently holding basically a full amount of the diesel and is sending power to these two diesel generators. That way when I start running these guys, it won't kill those, and those things running won't accidentally eat my materials over here. And then in addition to, once I get the kanthal ingots and I get the kanthal coils, I didn't want the EBF to end up running out of power. As you can see, I'm finally using that middle backpack that was empty. I'm just kind of basically storing all this in the middle of working on stuff. So that comes in fairly handy. Hey, look at that. Looks like that little detour got us to get those guys out, and I'll put all 4 of those there in like that. So the next thing for me to do is to put them into the vacuum freezer, which is hooked up, and so it should be able to be used at this point. Double check, looks like it's running fine. I've got power to it, and if I open this guy up and I look at the using of this, it takes just MV power. So I've got the 4 amps of MV going into the one energy thing, but it can only take 2 amps, so it should have more than enough. So let's go ahead and grab out a stack, toss it in, see if this guy kicks on. Right, that is the input. Yep, input bus. Oh, you know what? I have never hit these things on the face with a soft mallet, so they have never been turned on. I should go do that real quick. Now, the other nice thing about getting this stuff set up and done is that when I move the EBF, this guy can power this wall and a little bit of stuff just off of this without me needing to move it around or find a way to get more stuff set up. I'll use that just kind of as an individual power thing over there. Whack it once. There it goes. And 6 seconds each. That's not too bad. And this guy is providing more than enough power. 2 amps of HV is more than enough for 2 amps of MV. It's pretty much overkill, but there are my kanthal coils. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys with taking these things over, running it through the wire mill, running these mica insulator sheets through the bending machine, and then putting those into the assembler with some molten copper. But once those kanthal coils are done, I am going to move that EBF right over here. And then there's probably going to be a little bit of setup that I'm going to have to do as well. By moving them over here, I'm probably also going to need to make another set of transformers in order to get it. Let's see here, I probably need at least one just to get it down to HV, but I will probably move it down to MV, simply because until I get the nichrome coils, having it up at HV power isn't really necessary. Once it's at HV, I'll have to make two of the HV inputs, and those things are kind of expensive. Let's take a look at this. HV energy, there we go. HV energy hatch. This guy needs pumps, the coolant cells, low power ICs. These guys probably take something different now. Yeah, an HV cutting machine and a yellow lens. I may have one of these lenses, or I may be working towards one of those lenses. But in any case, I do not have the capability to run that stuff yet, and so because I don't have that, I do have the HV assembler. I currently have it set up right there. And I may have the cutting. I do have the cutting machine. I moved the cutting machine in order to put the assembler there. So I guess I do have the capability of creating an HV energy hatch. It's just a matter of actually doing it. So in any case, I am going to get this EBF set up and moved with kanthal coils, but that will be for the next video. So I will see you guys in the next video. Till then.